you know, it is the most iconic thing I've ever done.
Oh, period.
Oh, period. It is the most iconic thing I've ever done. Greetings and welcome to my channel. My name is Tenicka. In case you're new here, my channel focuses on fashion, travel, beauty, and yapping. In today's video, I'm going to be yapping. I have to do my makeup because I'm going to brunch with my girlfriends. And first of all, let me talk about this Kiehl's, honey. This Kiehl's Ultra Facial Barrier Hydrating Cleanser. I feel like by the time this video goes up, I will have talked about it on TikTok. But I stole this from my husband. Oh my goodness, this is so good. If you have like dry combination skin, highly recommend. And then I've never heard of this brand. It was Beekman 1802. The lady from Ulta recommended this, and it is the milkshake, and it has hyaluronic acid and squalene. It's a facial toner mist. It's so good. This is like, I've been spraying this stuff all day. All week. It just adds like, you know, a bit of moisture. But let's get into what we're talking about today, honey. I want to talk about the joys of motherhood. Yes, the joys of motherhood, because I feel like I've issued warnings. I've shot my shot and fired shots at motherhood, which I think is warranted because I think so many people glorify it in ways that just aren't realistic for everyday women, especially women who aren't like deeply moneyed and who may not necessarily have access to the financial resources, the community, the like stable men and or partner that they need to make sure motherhood is, you know, successful, interesting, and rewarding. I can link those videos below, but I feel like I've talked about it ad nauseum, and I'm happy to also talk about and share stories from my own motherhood journey about like times where it wasn't so rewarding for me and ways that I shifted to make it a little bit more rewarding. That's just my Code I use that all the time. This is a simple, I feel like simple skincare routine. Just going in with the Clinique Moisture Surge, again, another one I love. It's got like a gel-like finish, which I absolutely adore. Going in with my Kiehl sunscreen. This is my holy grail. This is my holy grail. I stole this from my husband. I don't even think he has another one. And let me tell you something. 10 out of 10. I am a skincare girly, in case you can't tell. I just love skincare. I just feel like it's one of the things that has single-handedly increased my, one of those like really small quality of life. It's just like skincare is literally, it's life-changing. And I did not grow up with like clear skin. No, I was never like severely acne prone, but I had acne, of course. I had dry skin, dry patches, dark marks, dark circles, all the things. My dark circles and stuff is hereditary. You know, she's black. But yeah, that's my little skincare routine. Let me just say this as a disclaimer. This video is not meant to like encourage women who always knew they didn't want to become mothers to become mothers. I think that's a sound, quality, high functioning decision. And honestly, I wish a lot of adults would make that decision before they find themselves ruined by parenthood. Just being honest and being real. I personally believe that you should have a motherhood plan just like you have like a financial plan. Like, and you should adjust it based on the age of your child, your financial circumstance. If you increase children in your, like in your family, the mood and energy of your partner. I just fundamentally believe that, and I can go into that in maybe the next video if that's helpful. Y'all let me know. But I just think if you are a type A person and you are on the cusp of having kids, and these recent revelations and conversations about motherhood, while it's therapeutic, it's starting to scare you. I think this is a conversation that I want to have for you. Like, there are ways that you can foolproof, that you can joy, you know, fill your life with motherhood, but I think there are just some steps that you really need to take, and I'm happy to talk about that in a separate video, like the actual steps and plans. But for me, this is a video that's kind of like a defense of motherhood, you know? I don't really think it needs to be defended. I think that it is being romanticized in Hollywood in ways that are not helpful. I think that men use it as a weapon to trap women. Bump, I said it. Okay? Men going around telling women that, like, I'm going to put a baby in you, call the police. That is a threat to your financial, emotional, and physical health. That requires, I am anti, incarceration for, small offenses. That's a major offense. Like, call Elliot Stabler, call Olivia Benson. Like, you need prison time. Rikers Island. Immediately. Because why are you threatening women with children in today's world? That is not acceptable, and that's not okay. But I think what we're not going to do is act like in some cultures, in some societies, having children is not the cultural standard and societal norm, because it is. I don't think that using not having children as like the opposite of having children is responsible, especially when it comes to women. There are myriad of ways that women don't have kids, by choice, by circumstance, by force. It's, that's not a conversation I want to continue to have. I just think we need to let women exist in the ways that they exist. I think for me, when it comes to motherhood, is motherhood the best thing I ever did? Honestly, it is. And it took me so long to say that because I was just such a feminist. I am such a feminist. And I think publicly making it seem like, motherhood is the sum total of your life experiences is so reductive to women. But I think for me personally, it is one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I'm not going to lie. It is the most iconic thing I've ever done in my life. It is the most daring thing I've ever done in my life. It's also one of the scariest and riskiest decisions I ever made in my life. It is the riskiest decision I ever made in my life. Riskiest decision. This is like, there is no world that someone who came from a background like I came from, and many of us came from this background, where motherhood was like downtrodden, problematic, riddled in poverty and problems, right? Like the bane, it was a punishment for having a good time. That's what it was. It was a punishment for having a good time. And, you avoided having a good time because you didn't want to wind up pregnant. And so that was like, that's what pregnancy was. Motherhood was like, now you have to suffer for all of your days. And you have to live in poverty, and you have to scrap up money. And then you go on Facebook and say, my kid is my life. My kid is my world. Whole time you ain't been on a vacation. Whole time you can't leave your job because you need the money, because who's going to support you and your kid? It's just the extra added layer of responsibility and stress. That's what I thought. That's what I figured. That's not all born out of falsehood. Some of that is rooted in a lot of reality, but a lot of it honestly is rooted in trauma. That was a trauma response that I had. That's what I saw around me. And I had a deep, deep fear based on the experiences of the women around me. I never really saw women who had access to resources with a whole bunch of kids. I didn't see that, right? And so I knew immediately that I wasn't going to necessarily have 4 or 5 kids unless I wanted to have a 4 or 5 kids lifestyle. Now, I knew I didn't want to do that. I wanted to live in New York City. I always knew I wanted to live in New York City. I also always feel like I knew that I wanted in some way access to a certain life of leisure. And so I knew kind of immediately that I couldn't do that with a whole bunch of kids. Now, I didn't know if I was going to have 1 kid or 2 kids, but I knew I wasn't necessarily going to have 3 kids, right? That's not shade to anybody that has 3 kids. You know, you could be a person that loves living on a farm in suburbs and, you know, all these things. I also did not carry the moral conviction that a lot of women have around choice, you know, birth control, access to having kids the way that you want to have. A lot of women have moral convictions around that. I never really did. I'm just being honest with you. I've talked about this publicly. I've talked about this online a number of times. I know a number of women that have moral convictions around if they become pregnant, they are automatically going to become mothers. I never felt that. In fact, I felt the opposite. Okay, always, almost always. One of the things that really helped me when it came to motherhood and my motherhood journey was leaning into playfulness. I talk about this a lot. I was never really a playful person. Motherhood also, I felt, made me a little bit more stringent. I was like constantly like on edge. You know, I wanted things in a certain place. I wanted, you know, when I left something there, I wanted it to be there. You know, that's just how I was, right? I finally had my own space after living with a bunch of family members, okay? Growing up with siblings. And like now I had to share my things in my space. And this little kid is moving my stuff. And like, you're going to be miserable if you do not lean into the playfulness, if you do not lean into the spontaneity, if you do not lean into those aspects that really make life enjoyable, you're going to struggle. You are going to struggle. Like for me, it made me so much more nimble. It made me so much more like, there were things that used to move me that didn't move me anymore. I was just unmoved, right? Like I was just unbothered. I really couldn't care less, because when you have a kid falling off the bed, child, and you're about to pass out, or you have on an all white outfit thinking you're cute and the kid poops all over your clothes, like, yeah, you're going to have a meltdown the first time. But girl, after that, after that first poop, girl, nothing can take you down. You're ready for anything. You're literally ready for it. Oh, I wasn't ready for that one size. It's great, but honey, it will take you out. Ooh. I think another joy of motherhood that was just like, goes into leaning into playfulness is like, you learn to expect the unexpected. Like in terms of good and bad. Like, you just learn to expect the unexpected. You're like, you don't know what today is going to bring. You set yourself up for the biggest success, and that's what you do. Like, that's a part of being successful as a mother. You have to set yourself up for success every single day, but you don't know what the day is going to bring. Like, it's one thing for you to take care of your physical health. It's another thing to have a kid who's like sick and like you don't know what's gonna happen. You can pack all the clothes, you can pack all the things, you can do everything right, and baby, there is nothing that can prepare you for the craziness of motherhood. Nothing. It's just you can keep your kid in a playpen all day. They're gonna find a way to disrupt your day. And that's just how it goes. And it just made me such a better colleague. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't experience these things, you won't be a great colleague or you won't be great at work. No, I'm just saying, like, these are the silver linings for me. Like, if I didn't experience that in the workplace, I think, or at home, I think I would have been more shocked in the workplace. Like, it was just so much easier for things to roll off my back. When you got on a $250 dress, and this beautiful, cute little kid decides to throw up on it, and you can't get it out, and you have to pay $250 to get the stuff out of it, girl, anything can happen. And you'll be good. You're fine. Who cares? What else? Next, what else is going on? That's literally how it goes. This is going to sound a little like pie in the sky, a little spiritual. I can be a little poetic. I'm going to try not to cry because I have concealer. I'm using my concealer. But I don't believe that you need to experience motherhood to have the deepest joy in your life. I don't believe that. But I will say for me personally, it is actually motherhood and having a child and loving a child deeply was an opportunity that I needed to learn and to grow and to love a person as deeply and as unconditional as I do. I actually never in my life think that I would have or could have ever experienced unconditional love, right? It's like, I love my husband deeply. The conditions are limited, but there are conditions. There are conditions. Like, there are conditions. There is no condition for my daughter. None. Not a single one. Not a single one. I will be there for her if she's on her very last, if she has done the same thing 60 times over. I will be there for her. I might be there complaining. I might be there sad. I might be there embarrassed, but I'm going to be there. I never understood it until I got in the moment, right? And I think for some people, that's what makes motherhood so disappointing. Like their mothering experience, like the person that mothered them, their mother is like, they don't feel like their mother had unconditional love for them or loved them unconditionally, or she may have loved another sibling more unconditionally or whatever. And so I get it. But for me, like some people love their cat unconditionally, their dog, like none of that stuff compares. And I consider myself to be in a great relationship, in a great partnership. And that is one of the highest, most quality loves that I've ever experienced in my life. And even still, it is nowhere close to the unconditional love and experience that I have for my child. Do I think I would have been whole without it? Yes. But am I grateful to God every day that I get to experience this? Yes. It makes me a better human. It makes me empathize more. It makes me more understanding. It brings me joy. It brings me happiness. It grounds me. It is a magical experience. It is, I can't even describe it honestly. But I don't think I had to experience it to be whole, but I am grateful that I get to experience it. I am grateful that I was chosen to experience this magnitude of love. It makes life, for me, worth living. It makes everything I do make more sense. It gives me a sense of purpose in ways that I probably wouldn't have the same kind of purpose. And I have purpose in my life. But this has been one of the best things to ever happen to me. Cliche, but true. Cliche, but very true. Ooh, I'm going to use the new Danessa Myricks grape soda. Yeah, we're going to try that out. Because I think purple on dark skin is kind of iconic. I think it's iconic. Yeah. And I've seen it tried on a lot of like young skin. But I'm like, girl, let's try it on some skin that's 30 and up. 35 and up. Ooh, child, now I'm about to be late messing with y'all, but look at that. Ooh, that's like a real purple. I think I might link this. I say that every time, but don't link nothing. Guys. Ah! Oh my God, it goes on like a berry. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. Oh, that's really tea. See, when I buff it out a little bit more. Oh, girl. When I get to brunch, the girls are going to be like, Miss Thing, what are you working with? What are you putting on the skin? Exactly that. Yeah. I'm going to have to give my girlfriends link. Okay, I will say this. One of the things that I really love about motherhood that I feel like people don't talk a lot about is like, it's actually really fun. It's actually really fun. Like, you have a baked-in friend, you have like a mini-me, you have somebody running around. Like, there's a point in motherhood, I think, like, once they're potty trained, I always say like 7. It's sad that you have to wait 7 years to get to the glory years. Like, you start to see it at 5, you start to see it at 6, but like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like, you're in heaven. They're funny. They're interesting. They hang out with you. They're glorious. They want to tag along with you. Yes, you might be dealing with, societal issues and norms and challenges. There may be special needs. Like, I don't want to prescribe my experience to every single person. But I think once you have your motherhood plan, and it is really centered around a high quality functional mother. Like, once you realize like how to get into the swing of things as a mother, it really is a nurturing process that is deeply fun. Like, it is so fun. They're like so funny. They go to bed on time. They eat on their own. They're potty trained. They think you're so pretty. They think you are funny. They care about your thoughts and opinions. They have little thoughts and opinions about the world around them. Like, it is actually really, really fun. Like, I don't want to take away from that. It is not all fun. I think that's the pushback that a lot of mothers that we are starting to have on like social media. It's like, it's not all fun. And so don't lie. Okay. There are times that it's frustrating, but like, I think once you get into the swing of things and you establish like the right habits and you have the right like motherhood plan or like parenthood plan, it can be really fun. And you can create fun. Like, for example, my husband loves to eat and he eats so like in a very unhealthy way. And I talked about this so many times, like on my TikTok live. My husband is an old black man who acts like an old black man. He like eats so unhealthy. And he's gotten better over the years. Like, he doesn't drink soda and all those things excessively, but like, he loves food. He cooks really, really well. But like, I used to didn't go to like all of these things with him. Baby, when I tell you, my daughter, like, was his road dog. They used to go to eat ice cream after every meal. Now, we live in New York City, so you can just walk outside and go get ice cream. And, like, they would, on the weekends, they would go, like, to chili dog festivals or, like, barbecue festivals or, like, they would say they're going to Coney Island just to eat. Like, it's really fun. It's like a joyous experience. It really is. I always say, like, people become parents for 7-year-olds. Like, if you're around a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, it's like really fun. I mean, here's the thing. You have to like kids. That's a precursor. Like, if you don't like kids, it's nothing a kid's going to do that's going to be amusing to you. Don't become a parent. You're going to damage that child. You're going to damage yourself. If you are like a sticky, icky person and you'll never become nimble and you don't have any fun and you like don't have room in your life for others, like, you need to be rigorously self-aware and you need to not bring another child into this world. Just because people are telling you to have a kid because you will be lonely. Girl, it's better to be lonely than to ruin a child. It's better to be lonely than to bring another person into this world knowing that you don't have the tools and skills to make space for them. Like, if you know you can't do it every single day, then don't do it. It's really that simple. Simple. It's really that simple. That's what I suggest for you. Okay? Don't say I didn't tell you. Another thing that I really personally enjoy is watching a person become a person. I say this to my daughter all the time. Like, that was one of the highlights for me of parenthood, was like when my daughter was young. Even now, I still enjoy it. Like, my husband, he just misses her being a small person. Me, I actually really enjoy watching a person become a person. Like, up close and personal, helping to create that journey, helping to like infuse your morals, your values, the things that you like and love, the things that weren't available to you, you get to now, allow another person to experience. I did not grow up traveling extensively. And so I was like really serious on my motherhood like plan. I guess I need to do the motherhood plan. But like, one of the things that was really important for me in my motherhood plan was like making sure my child was seeing the world. Like, that was non-negotiable for me. I want to start off once or twice a year, and I started off very cheaply. But like, that was really important for me. I was not going to Disney my child every year, and then go to Mexico. It's nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't a part of my journey. I wanted to make sure my daughter was seeing the world while she was a child. I just thought that was formative. I thought it was important. I thought it was educational. I thought it was cultural. And that's what I wanted for my daughter. Like, I didn't want my daughter to think that either romanticized or demonized Africa. You are of African descent. You need to know Africa intimately. You need to see Africa intimately. You need to have fond memories of it. You need to enjoy it. You need to feel comfortable being on that continent in multiple countries. And you do that through the growing up process. As a child, you normalize these things in a child's life. That's just how I felt. And that was part of my motherhood journey. Like, I was going to normalize my child traveling. I wanted to normalize my Black girl child being in Africa. I wanted to normalize my Black girl child knowing how to get on the tube in London. I wanted to normalize my Black girl child eating sushi and having caviar, and also normalize my Black girl child being empathetic, not disregarding people because they're low income, or having a disdain for people because they're poor, or having a deep admiration for people because they're wealthy or moneyed. I wanted my daughter to have good cultural understanding, to have a good moral upbringing, to understand the world around her, to be proud of herself as a girl, as a woman, as a person in this world, as someone who is equal to her peers, to not walk into a room and have guilt or imposter syndrome. I wanted to make sure my daughter was worldly, could have conversations, could be interesting, no matter what kinds of challenges she had, whether she was introverted or extroverted. She was confident in who she was, and that she knew no matter what the world threw at her, she could always come home. That she could literally tell me anything. It did not matter how she thought I was going to react. Nothing. But I didn't want my daughter to suffer under the weight of men, or to think that she belonged to men, or she had to be with a man in order to be important or successful or interesting or fun. No. I needed my daughter to understand that she could be a whole person, and this, in my mind, is what a whole person is and was. And that has been one of the most iconic things I've ever done. It has been the joy of my life, watching a person become a person. Even showing her how to become the person I wanted her to be, and watching her become her own person, has been so therapeutic. It has healed my inner child in so many ways. Now, motherhood can trigger your inner child. Now, if you don't have the resources and the money and the things, and you grew up with no resources and money and things, and then you bring a child into this world, you're going to be triggered and re-triggered over and over again. Me, it's not like that for me, okay? This has been healing. This has been nurturing. This has been awe-inspiring. This has allowed me to believe in the future. It's allowed me to believe in the world. Days when I am down, days when I don't believe that this world is important or livable or, viable, or a mess, and that's a lot of days, I just remember the face of my child when she saw an elephant in the wild for the first time. I just remember my daughter touching a giraffe in the palm of her hand. I remember her being 2 years old, eating, tuna, raw tuna for the first time, or like eating applesauce and taking a step for the first time. It just reignites this imagination and love for living in ways that I've never experienced. And I've experienced some of that with my nieces and nephews, but like to see it every single day up close and personal, nobody could ever have described to me how joyous and lovely that is and was. And now I'm about to cry. I will say this too in the same vein. That is deeply motivating. Now, I was always an ambitious person. I was always a motivated person. But there is something about delivering for another person. Now, some of y'all like to deliver for a man. Now, why I had to say that? Now, some of y'all like to do this for a man, and y'all like to, deliver for a man, and y'all like to be the, the grace under fire for a man. Not me. I can't do that. That is not, I'm not that kind of girl. But there's something, I don't know. It's just been something so rewarding about delivering for a child, about like making a child's dream come true, about them wanting something and you delivering it for them. And it's been, again, it has healed my inner child, right? Like I always wanted to do these things and now I get to do them for someone else and myself. God, I don't think I would have it any other way. Like it is just, I've just been like, wow, this is what I always wanted. I am living out my dreams in ways that I never imagined. And the feeling of being able to deliver on your child's hopes and dreams, on their like financial future, on their physical well-being, on their joy and their happiness is unlike anything I've ever experienced. It is such a unspoken joy that it's really immeasurable. It's immeasurable. The last thing I'll say, and I'm gonna try this new no filler needed volumizing lip plumper from the Lip Bar in this cool like color. I love the Lip Bar, Black owned by the way. All of their products are stellar. I love them. I'm just going in with this lip liner from Sephora. It's also like, it's kind of like MAC Night Moth. It's just a little bit more purple. But I love it because it twists up and I don't have, like, I carry it in my bag. Ooh, baby. You know, she's a mama. She's getting excited about lip gloss. She's getting excited about lip gloss. Yeah. Okay, I'm about to be late. I'm about to be late and I live like, I'm the closest person to the brunch spot. But the last thing I'll say on this is that when it comes to motherhood, for me, I've just found that the joy outweighs the challenges. When you have a solid motherhood plan, you have the resources, you have things in place that can support you, I found the joy far exceeds the challenges. We don't speak about the challenges enough, which is why I spoke about it. But the joy for me far exceeds the challenges. It's another phase of your life. It's different than your life before. Once you settle into that life, once you find joy in that, once you see that it is healing and therapeutic and you can rise in motherhood, that it can be one of the most grounding experiences of your life, the most motivating, the most energetic things of your life. Once you welcome that new phase into your life, it can really change you and the joy never ends. Like I thought I knew joy until my daughter turned 7, until my daughter turned 8, until my daughter turned 9, until my daughter went off to college and we entered a new phase into our relationship. And there are times where I text my daughter and I'm just like, I am so happy that you are my daughter, and not just that you are my daughter, but that you are in my life. I am grateful to God that you are in my life. My baby, she's actually home for spring break. She's actually flying back, but she was home for a while. Yeah. But I wanted to just say, this video is about motherhood, and I just wanted to say, and I'm gonna try not to cry because now you're here, but you know, I think it's so important for other women to know how, like, important motherhood is. I always talk about how gloom and doom it is, honey, because it is very trifling. You know, I talk about it being very trifling all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think it's so important when it comes to, you know, the parent and the child to constantly remind yourself that it is, you know, it is the most iconic thing I've ever done.
Oh, period.
Oh, period. It is the most iconic thing I've ever done. And I'm just so grateful to have you in my life. That's what I want to say. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. Even if you came in the form of a friend or a niece, not just my daughter, I think I would still love you. But I'm so grateful that you came in the form of my child.
Oh, I love you so much.
I love you too, Buggy. All right. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and hit the bell notification so that you never miss an upload from me. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.